Welcome back to Marvel Maniac, an MCU after show. This is your host, Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest. This is the after show for I Am Groot, episode 3. And the third episode is titled Groot's Pursuit. Groot is in pursuit of a Groot variant of some sort. Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is no stranger to variants. It is kind of the walking theme so far, and this episode somewhat leans into that, but however, it's not really a variant, more or less a copy. For those wondering, I will be covering the movies I haven't covered this phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the other MCU shows that I haven't covered this year that were released this year, including Shang-Chi, Multiverse of Madness, Moon Knight, and Miss Marvel. I can't wait. And let's get into this episode of I Am Groot, Groot's Pursuit. This short takes place, I'm assuming, during Guardians 2, while Groot is being held by the Ravagers, because it is on board what looks like the Ravagers ship. Groot is wearing a onesie, which is just hilarious. And he wakes up startled. Well, I will say I know it's the Ravager ship because I listened to the audio commentary, which is really great. It gives you a lot of extra details. If you don't listen to that, it's available on Disney+. It kind of lets you know some of the extra details. It helps me thoroughly in my podcast note-taking. A lot. He guzzles a glass of water, as we all tend to do when we wake up kind of quickly in the night, and he marches out into a corridor and bumps into a cabinet. He snatches a lit wristband off the cabinet and wraps it around his forehead like a headlamp. He presses the digital display and a bright light shines. So the Ravager ship isn't the most comforting place to sleep. You know, I'm assuming and seeing. It's dark and it's creepy. So as Groot steps forward, his light sweeps over a broken vial on the floor. The light follows a trail of fluid down the hallway to a dark doorway, and the fluid is rainbow colored. It's very intriguing, even to me. I want to see where this leads. So he walks towards the door and he bravely kicks it in, and he points and says, "I am Groot." Well, he finds himself pointing at a dirty toilet. "I am Groot," he says again as he peers down into the toilet. Nothing special here, it's just a spaceship toilet. Nothing more, nothing less, just your average spaceship toilet. Later, sitting on the edge of the toilet, he flips through a magazine, which if you pause and take a look at, we see alien writing on it, and 4 pictures, and 2 of them I can't really make out, but the other 2, one is Thanos. We get to see Thanos. And the other is the owl elephant creature, I believe, from the last episode, which I just love Easter eggs, of course. Easter eggs are amazing, and the more Thanos, the better. The more Thanos, the better, as long as he's done snapping. Which he hasn't done yet, technically, in the universe canon, yet. Now as Groot heads back down the hall, he shakes a piece of toilet paper off his foot. Been there, unseen, something skitters past above him. It moves very fast. Groot has his eye on a shelf, which he quickly picks up a jar that's on it, and he checks underneath the jar. But in the jar is just nonchalantly a brain in it. Okay. Gross. And next to that jar, he finds this gourd-shaped vessel. He opens it, revealing another one inside, and he finds a smaller one inside that. And he lifts another layer, and there's another one inside that. And as he's opening them, he's saying, "I am Groot." And Groot has a lot of really cute moments in the show. They do a really good job with him. The creature thing zooms past him again, and Groot just barely notices, but he turns and he sees an alien-looking banana, and he just jumps on it. And as he lifts the peel to his ear, a shimmering liquid drips behind the wall behind him. His light goes out again, leaving him in darkness. He smacks the display, and an automated voice tells him, "You have walked 300 steps." He hits it again, and he says if he knows his horoscope, and he can't find his workout history until he keeps hitting it until the light goes out completely. Groot won't battle with modern technology, or the technology of this spaceship. He just would rather have no light. There's an explosion, and Groot turns. A bright light shines through a hole in the wall. Groot peers through the hole and climbs into a cavernous room. Later, he walks down a suspended hallway, his gaze searching the room. Looking down, he notices puddles of the liquidy substance moving on their own. Coming together, they slide between Groot's feet and form an exact rainbow, liquidy replica of him. "I am Groot," he says in a not-so-familiar tone. The real Groot steps towards his liquidy imposter. "I am Groot," argues our Groot. "I am Groot," the other Groot sternly insists. Groot gasps and narrows his eyes, and so does his water counterpart. A spotlight shines down on Groot as he pops his shoulders up and down. Salsa/tango music begins to play. This wouldn't be a part of Guardians of the Galaxy, the franchise, without an epic dance-off battle. And this series is not letting us down here. And I don't believe Groot got to be a part of the dance-off to save the universe because he saved the Guardians and allowed them to be there. Hence him becoming a tiny sproutling and this series being able to take place. So Groot has his own dance-off to save the universe. And who knows the potential of this vile creature that was unleashed and what Groot saved the universe from by Ebony mawing him at the end of this. You know? Who knows? So Water Groot copies OG Groot. And they have an epic dance-off. Groot holds out his arms and waggles his head. Now the two Groots dance together. They shimmy, one moving forward as the other leans back. Dancing side by side, they wiggle their hips. This is like a really good time to just mention the animation on the show and how just great it is. And it's up to par with the movies. And that's what the shows do really well. The Marvel shows, they take their time. They're not as long as your average, like, cable TV show. They're going to be a little bit shorter, but they're up to the standards of a Marvel film. So yeah, I have to say, I Am Groot as a whole is top tier, and I love it for being unique and special in its own right. The Water Groot starts to take the lead and shows he has a bit of greater knowledge than Groot. Just all around greater knowledge. He does an expert spin on one foot, and Groot tries to repeat the spin, the dance move. And he says, "Oh, no, my friend. It's not step, step, turn. It's step, step, pirouette." The Water Groot briefly becomes a large creature with multiple tentacles. And he says, "Spin like this into a large angular shape, quite big. Strike a pose, then bring your body back in. Breathe in and out 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And he's just an expert, but he is a giant, tentacular monster. And he apparently can take all forms and all shapes and all sizes, and not just Groot. This creature quickly reveals himself to Groot. He gets very comfortable with Groot very fast. And you kind of feel for this creature if you think about it. You know? Like, he's willing to just dance off with Groot. He goes on a bit as he's going between Groot form and octo-tentacle monster form. Groot is taking this all in stride, and a good balance of shock and awe as he dances his water form down the walkway. "If I may, I have a few points of criticism that could really improve your dancing," Liquid Groot says as Groot dances him down the walkway to a chamber that Groot spins him into. He presses a red button that's next to a green one and ejects him off into space, as I said earlier, Ebony Maw style. I like this kind of reference / nod to Avengers Infinity War. It really kind of, everything's a reference. If it's the way Ebony Maw went out, in my opinion, it's a slight reference to that. In one way or another, it's a nod. And he says, "I am Groot," and he dances away. The moral being, originality is key. And you can't be everyone unless you're a sentient rainbow water pile. And that is it for Groot's Pursuit, the third short in a series of 5 shorts. I am Groot. I am Mr. Honest, aka Eric Cicada, and this is Marvel Maniac, an MCU after show. Who knows where these last 2 shorts will take us? I have not expected any tiny aspects of this Little Tree's adventure so far, and these last two are sure to bring a couple of surprises. So I really look forward to watching them and sharing my experience with you. Until next time, Avengers, disassemble.